All right, go ahead. Let's go ahead and get started. I want to thank Danielle for coming out today and doing this presentation for us. We get a chance to work with some of the best providers in the industry, and FG is a huge product that we'd like to make sure that we're always updated and staying current with what they have and all their new products. And I'm excited to introduce Danielle to the group. You know, it's kind of my first time to meet her as well, and she's going to go over some of the FG product line and also the new product they just announced just recently, I believe, and it's really first for us to hear about it, Danielle. So we're excited about it, and so I'm going to leave it at that and introduce Danielle. Danielle, the floor is yours. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Jeff. Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. I appreciate you all taking time and joining us today. I would like to spend some time really elaborating on F&G's story and our product landscape. So you may be familiar with us as an accumulation IUL carrier and offering some other products such as Pathsetter and Everlast, which are best in class as far as product design and process. But today we're going to spend some time focusing on a new product called ExecuDex. So this is a product that is going to have exclusive distribution. So it's only going to be available to limited individuals and groups. And also it's going to have an exclusive process. So I have a lot of good information to cover with you all today. I do tend to talk fast, so feel free to ask questions, or if I need to slow down, Jeff, let me know. But I'll hit the product highlights and then we'll talk through the application experience because it is very unique to this product. And then at the end, if we have time, I can show you illustrations really quick because the illustrations on ExecuDex are super easy breezy, plug and play for you. So what I'd like to level set everybody with is, a little bit around ExecuDex being a first of its kind combination. So you may have seen products out there that are simplified issue, but maybe don't offer the income potential that ExecuDex has, or there may be those products are available for executives, but maybe don't have competitive design or process. And so we're really packaging that up into one-stop shop for you with F&G ExecuDex. And it really truly is our first IUL in the fast lane. And some of the niches that I'll highlight on this slide in particular are, it's designed for the affluent market. So this is a product that is designed for those high earners that are looking for tax advantage retirement planning, thanks to accumulation IUL and what it can offer you. And it'll offer you this competitive income potential through a funding bonus rider that I'll cover in depth in a few slides. And then we also from go, will offer you an industry leading application turnaround time. So I'm going to show you some slides after this deck and really kind of dig into that e-application so you can see what that experience looks like. But think of this as a policy where you could sit down to lunch or dinner with somebody and before the entree even comes that this policy has moved on to issue. So think of that as far as your timeline that you're thinking through, 15 to 20 minutes to submit an ExecuDex application. So if you have everything in good order, your policy design and everything, 15 to 20 minutes, and you have eliminated a lot of the headache that is involved with following up on underwriting requirements. We've made this simple and easy and flexible and taken it really next level for you all. So I want you to be thinking of that. And this is a product that if you know it, that your insured has moved on to issue, we've freed up your time from following up on requirements with your policy owners to sell more policies. So think of your time and your value to yourself in selling ExecuDex as this will free you up to make more sales and also get paid more commissions ultimately with that potential volume for you. So we're bringing together this combination of streamlined processing in a permanent life insurance product along with great performance for this target affluent market. So when we're talking through the product specs with ExecuDex, it's very straightforward. I want you to think of F&G as a whole as having a straightforward consumer-friendly design. And ExecuDex is designed for issue ages 18 through 60 Given that it's an accumulation IUL, the target market is going to be ages 35 to 55. But what I want you to remember compared to our other products that you may see, where we do have products that are available completely exam-free, but that exam-free process extends through age 50. With ExecuDex, I can offer you the instant approval process that I've been teeing up through age 60. So that's going to be a value proposition to this product. The face amounts on ExecuDex are set. It's $500,000 to $1 million. So that is also something to consider if you're talking to a policy owner and for whatever reason, they may need more coverage. ExecuDex might not be the fit for them, but if they're looking for great income potential, for face amounts $500,000 to $1 million, we can have that here for you with ExecuDex. Underwriting classes are going to be express non-tobacco and express tobacco. And so it's important to note that express issued products are going to be priced slightly different than fully underwritten products. So I want to remind you that if you're looking at illustrations side by side, maybe to another fully underwritten IUL, and you're looking at the charges and expenses, it will be slightly different for ExecuDex. So it is something to note and to be able to explain to your clients. In addition to the fixed and our S&P buckets on ExecuDex, we will also offer our proprietary index from Barclays, the Trailblazer Sectors 5. It's an annual point-to-point. It's an uncapped strategy, and it has no spread. But it also is going to offer you a really high participation rate, 170% participation rate. And remember, this is on an express issued policy. So high par rate for your consumers with Barclays Trailblazer Sectors 5. ExecuDex will also include terminal and chronic illness, living benefit riders at no additional charge. In addition to an accidental death benefit rider, we also offer an account value enhancement or a persistency bonus in years 11 and beyond. So that's an additional 25% of additional index crediting to your policy years 11 and beyond with that persistency bonus. So let's talk through Barclays Trailblazer Sectors 5 really quick. I do like to call her the belle of the ball. So we have a great relationship with Barclays. I actually just emailed my contact a moment ago about something else. But this is direct access and also a value prop. And one of the things we can offer you all in working with F&G that a lot of other carriers couldn't. At my last carrier, for example, we did have volatility controlled indices, but we wouldn't really have had a point of contact at those asset managers to work with. That's different for us at F&G. We actually have a direct phone number that you can call if you have questions about Trailblazer. And so at its core, what Trailblazer is a domestic volatility controlled index. I kind of like to think about it like the S&P on steroids, because you're going to have access to all 10 sectors of the S&P plus real estate, but they have the ability to pivot to cash, and that cash is that protective value, because if any of the underlying ETFs in Barclays have a volatility that exceeds 5%, they can flee to that protection. So that's the index strategy at work and doing what it's designed to do. When we're looking at historical look back and performance, I do want to call out our S&P and Barclays strategies and take a quick look. What I love looking at on this slide is on this historical returns, which is in all of our illustrations, is on the S&P with that 11.5% cap. The 20-year average on this is over 7%. And what's important to note is if you are utilizing the S&P strategy, is that includes the last decade of the 2000s. So you would have started and ended that decade at the same point. So just imagine if you could have offered somebody who had experienced that an average annual return north of 7%, myself included on my 401k or IRA, I would have loved to have had that, right? So over the past 20 years, over 7% every year. If we move all the way over to Barclays Trailblazer Sectors 5, again, uncapped strategy with a 170 par, we're going to have a 10-year look back on this one, north of 12%. We don't quite have the 20-year historical, but very strong, very competitive 10-year look back here for Barclays for you. Okay, so what makes ExecuDex sing is really thanks to the funding bonus rider. Think of this as a way to take this rapid issue IUL and bring its performance in line with preferred fully underwritten competition and competitors. So the way it works is the funding on ExecuDex is very specific, that it must be funded as a 7-pay or longer. And you can't miss any of those premium payments. So while IULs in general are flexible on their premium payments, with ExecuDex, you must pay for 7 years or longer on time. So this will be similar to paying your premiums for your homeowner's insurance or for your car insurance. You can't miss that. There's no way to kind of catch up if you do miss that. But if you do pay on time, what the funding bonus rider will bring you is an additional, generally speaking, 1 to 2% of a bonus that'll be credited to your account value in years 11 through 30. So this is where we really see that performance and that pickup over the longevity of the policy to give you that competitive design. So this is truly unique and only available on ExecuDex. And I'll show you when we look at the illustrations, I'll show you where to locate that on your illustration so you can show your clients as well. When we're looking at the competition, I have a quick scenario here. We're looking at 45-year-old male and female example. And on these, in all but one scenario, does F&G beat the competition? So we're looking at North American, Allianz, and Symetra here. On the male example, North American beats F&G by not much, and that's going to be fully underwritten. In the female example, we're looking at the closest competition. F&G could have given this individual 4.5% more annual income than North American, and then it goes down from there with Allianz and Symetra. So really great design here for you with ExecuDex. Okay, so let's pivot from the product information. Let me pause while I bring up some other slides here to talk through the process on ExecuDex and see before I move on. I know that was quick, but it is a rapid issue product. So the nuts and bolts are very straightforward, and it really comes down to a few slides that I showed you there with the product specs and then the funding bonus rider. So I'll pause there really quick. Feel free to type them in the chat, or we can also come back at the end.
I have one question.
Yes. Yes.
So you mentioned a 7-pay or longer. When you say 7-pay or longer, it has to be a 7-pay, or they could go, what, 10-pay? Or it's
really good question. So I encourage everybody, based on some of the designs I have seen, I encourage everyone to try to consider maybe paying longer. So for example, if it was my husband I was designing a policy for, and yes, it must be funded for a minimum of 7 years. But what I have seen a nice boost, and I'll show it on the illustration too. I can show you an example where if we just add 3 additional years of premium payments, you generally speaking are looking at triple or more income potential, tax-free supplemental retirement income potential during retirement. So I'll show you that an example, but it's a really great point, Jeff, is while the defaults will show 7-pay, what if we stretch that out a little bit longer? How do we get more out of this policy for you?
Yeah. It's like more front loading it. Let's just front load it more, right?
Let's get more in there so that you can get more out. And I'll show you what I'm talking about on the illustrations, but it's pretty cool. I found it during a demo and then I was like, can somebody check? And they were like, no, this is right. So unique, just little design niche for you.
Wow, that's great.
So when we're talking about the application and underwriting workflow, this is really where a lot of the widgets are working together on ExecuDex is around the process, because it is so unique to this product. And what really excites me is the expected outcomes that we based on back testing, what we anticipate to see with ExecuDex. And that is that 70+% of the time, we will know that those cases have moved on to issue. If we have really good field underwriting in our partnership with you as agents, underwriting tells us we could even take that up to 85%. So very strong. Just imagine that if you had 70% of your cases or more that you sat down, and if you had done some field underwriting on the front end, that you knew that those moved on to issue on the spot, just think of the volume of applications that you possibly could write in a year. There's a small percentage on this slide. We're looking at a small percentage of 5% that could kick out to underwriting. Now, when we say that, that doesn't mean that there's going to be additional underwriting requirements. It just means that it needs to pop out in the workflow for an underwriter to take a quick look at, see if they can make a decision maybe that the algorithms couldn't decide, and then they pop it back on in to move along through the process. That's how it works. As I go through the next couple of slides, what I want you to note is that even if an insured, pardon me one second, even if an insured isn't a match with ExecuDex, that does not mean that they're a decline. So as we're kind of walking through these next several slides, please note that it's not necessarily a decline, that they can pivot to another F&G product. And I encourage them to. I think we have really competitive design and process, but maybe give this one a try if you feel like it might be a fit. And if it didn't work out, we have alternative solutions that they can take advantage of. So as we're looking through the application process and workflow, think of what we previously had thought of a regular application where we have a part A and part B that we complete for an applicant. And we're gonna take that and we're gonna reverse engineer that, where we're gonna front load the application with more part B type questions. So we can be running the part B information in the background while the agent's completing real time the part A. So kind of think of that as kind of the way that it's working here. So an important component of the ExecuDex application is the pre-screening questionnaire. And so we have this available in a PDF that you could print off if you would like to as an agent, but it's a great tool to familiarize yourself with as an agent, to learn more about the underwriting and the expected results before you walk into that application process with your client. So it's built in as part of the application, this pre-screening portion, and it'll have what we call some of the knockout questions. So for example, I'll pick on an example I got a while back was, well, what if I had somebody that they were convicted of a felony like 20 years ago, they had served their time, they were now on probation, but they owned a bar and they were making $300,000 a year. Would ExecuDex be a fit for this individual? And unfortunately, based on that scenario, based on their history, ExecuDex would not be a match for that particular insured. There, just all the data that's running in the background, we wouldn't have not been able to get to moving on to the issue queues decision with ExecuDex. We're also going to look at their medical history over the past 10 years. So let's say they were referred for a surgery that they didn't complete. That's one of the questions that will be asked. And then we'll also ask build, very typical. Our build charts are very generous, and we have that published so that you can also look that up even before you walk into the application process for ExecuDex. So one thing that I want to call everybody's attention to is around security freezes and credit locks. So I know myself, I have, for my entire family, I've set up LifeLock, for example. And so when you're out and applying for a credit card, it'll ping you with like a text and it'll say, do you agree? That's something to have some awareness and maybe have just a conversation like, hey, do you have anything like LifeLock or any credit freezes? Because some of this data, we're not running an actual credit check, but some of this will lock their data to where the application can't flow through. So just food for thought, keep an eye on their phone, maybe check out, or if you get kind of like at a pause point on the application, have them take a look because it might be due to that lock that they have on their personal information and history. So ExecuDex is only available via e-application, and it's available through a face-to-face sale. So if I had Jeff sitting next to me, we could be on my computer and completing the online application, or you can do it through virtual solicitation. So we do have virtual solicitation guidelines available, but basically that would be where we're set up on Zoom like we are right now, conducting kind of this video conference, and then we can walk through that application process virtually while you're sitting at your kitchen table as well. So it'll be available. You do need to be pre-appointed with F&G if you're not already to access Sales Link and go in to snag the online applications. Once you're in there, it's very important to note that if you are going to write an ExecuDex application, to select the ExecuDex application itself. So I did have a situation over the weekend where I had an agent that accidentally selected the other product application and they tried to write ExecuDex, and it unfortunately doesn't map over. ExecuDex is going to have a very unique application experience that's specific to this process because we're running those data checks real time. So please make sure that you snag that application when going in there to the e-apps. But the way the process flow works is, I mentioned a little bit about the pre-screening and pre-sell. So this is probably about a 5-minute conversation, I would say, when you walk through the screens. I'll show you on the next slide, where you're completing some of this basic information that's calling real time into F&G systems. So right there on the spot, we're starting with this data on the front end. And so when you come to the end of that pre-screening portion, it will ask you to complete a signature. So if you're face-to-face, you would complete that using the mouse or on a tablet on the screen. If you are doing a virtual sell, you can send an email in real time. They sign on via their email, and then you can continue through the application flow. So that pre-screening portion will then move into what we call the application at this point. But this will be another brief conversation where in totality, we're looking at probably 15 minutes, maybe 20 if it's somebody that isn't as familiar with the wizard tool that they're walking through. And in this portion, as you go through the application, you're filling in some of those typical details like your face amount, your draft mode. We accept EFT for monthly draft, and then you'll have billing for quarterly, semi-annual, and annual billing. You can upload your illustration. We do ask some COVID questions. I wouldn't let that scare anybody away. I feel our COVID guidelines are extremely flexible, and they have been this entire time. Basically, we're just looking for if you have had COVID, have you been recovered for 30 or more days? And then we move into the Insta approval process after we've completed this information. So we may say, hey, we need an underwriter to take another look, and then we'll go into signing and submission. So as we look at the pre-screening, when you're walking into that ExecuDex e-app, you're going to select that, and then it's going to pull all the required forms. So this is going to be what the screen looks like, and then it creates an electronic version for you. What's different on the ExecuDex is that this is going to be more of a wizard-based application experience versus our other products are really designed to look like a paper application in electronic format. This will be different. If you've worked with any simplified issued or guaranteed issue products, you might have seen something like this in the past. So you're just kind of checking and clicking off the buttons through these screens and entering in some of this initial information that will then help us to begin running kind of this real-time experience and results on the application. So here we're entering in their build information. We've walked through some of the knockout questions that you have that I mentioned, you know, the felony example that I gave you, that would pop up right here for you. Then you'll go into the medical history. So maybe, you know, if somebody's diabetic, I'll pick on my mom for a second. She's diabetic and she smokes. So while somebody who manages their diabetes very well, if they don't have another kind of condition or medical concern, they could move on through the application flow. But when we've got a couple of those factors going on, maybe ExecuDex wouldn't have been a fit for them. So you're clicking off some of this information. It may ask you for your A1Cs, so that individual would need to be prepared to share that. And then we're coming to the end of this pre-sale, right? This is that first 5 or so minutes that I had mentioned initially. So at this point during the pre-sale, it's going to say, congratulations, based on your responses, it has been determined that the insured is eligible for this product. So this is an important, while it's not bolded and it doesn't have fireworks, this is an important point in that application. It's saying, okay, this all looks really good. Let's keep on this with this conversation and complete this application. So you can sign now, as I mentioned, or send that email request. So now we're moving into what is called the application process, but the entire thing is the Insta approval application process itself. And this is where we're putting in our index strategies that we're going to use. We're going to put in our premium information. Then we can go into the illustration portion. So you can upload it right here on the spot if you'd like to add that to your application. We're going to acknowledge and then enter in the insured and owner's information and verify that. And then we generate an ExecuDex application number and we're finished. So I just went through 2 slides. I know it was multiple screenshots that we went through, but I think it's very realistic in reviewing this to expect a 15 to 20 minute turnaround on this e-application process for you with ExecuDex. So I'll pause there. I wanted to move over and show you all a little bit more within Sales Link and show you some of the e-applications. And I think it booted me out.
Question, Danielle,
Yes.
while you're doing that. So you're saying the application process, once you do that application, that's a little bit different than the old Fidelity applications for like Gold and the other ones. It's going to be more like an instant approval one. Are you saying it's approved in 15 minutes from the time I submit that, or how long is the approval process on this application approximately?
So you'll know it's running real time.
Okay.
The checks, Jeff. So that's when you are like the pre-screening in that first initial phase of the application, they're running right then and there, MIB, RX, MVR, and a soft credit check.
I see.
Then when we bridge to the full application, which is that second step really, then we run something that's called LexisNexis. It's the latest generation of LexisNexis, but that's what's going to give us that real time at the end of that experience where we know, congratulations, this case has moved on to issue. We're going to send it on and begin getting everything printed and out to the agent so they can deliver that policy. I would also say too, if you select the monthly draft, the PAC form, that'll also start drafting the premiums immediately with that process for you. And that also means it's going to release commissions to the agents faster too with that too.
So I just want to clarify with the audience that, with the agents, that this is kind of unheard of in a policy like this. To get $500,000 or more in coverage without a medical examination, it's unheard of in the industry. I really want you guys to understand that. Next, to get it instant approval is unheard of to me as well. So, when she mentioned earlier, it's for an affluent market. Yeah, the premiums are going to be higher because it's more of a 7-pay or a 10-pay or more, for example. But you're looking at an additional bonus for an executive who'd want to have his money grow tax advantage in the future. So he's utilizing the advantages of an IUL without having to go through the medical examination that most people at this level will not want to deal with. So if you're looking at it from just a client perspective, hopefully I'm saying that properly, right? That you're looking at a client who doesn't want to be bothered, just wants to get the best program, the best cash value out, no issue and no hassle to get approval. It's kind of unheard of. I hope that's what I'm getting from all this, correct?
You're absolutely. It's unique. And also, no, this product isn't available to everyone that is contracted with F&G.
That's right.
So within those partnerships, we've even limited the distribution. So I think
you're
that's
not
a
going to have
value.
any competition selling this. You're one of the only few people in the country that can offer this program. I hope you guys realize how valuable that is.
That's truly the value, and along with unique process for you all. So I'm hoping it's something you can leverage and take advantage of. I think, when you're thinking of your network and individuals you work with, those doctors that don't have time, or doctors groups, you could sit in a conference room and make appointments and knock out several policies in one afternoon, right? When you think about this, you could do a planning meeting, talk about design, kind of do that initial pre-screening on the spot if you wanted to do so, or do a follow-up and say, okay, and then we're coming back, we're going to write these applications with you on the spot. So, or think of, my husband works for one of the big 4 accounting firms. So they're so savvy on, tax advantage. And what if you could grab some people that, work for one of those accounting firms? It doesn't have to be big 4, right? They're all sizes, but just for example, busy individuals, especially right now during COVID, all those groups have been flooded with business. So why not show them a solution to get them protection and also tax advantage, retirement income in a one-stop shop and a brief conversation with them over coffee. So I popped in here. This is the home office view. If it looks a little bit different when I was popping in to run the ExecuDex illustrations. So
we're seeing the PowerPoint of.
I'm glad you said that. Okay,
Yeah.
let me try. Thank you for telling me. Here we go. I think we're here. Okay. Now, can you see my browser?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, we're good.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay. So we've got a 50-year-old male that we're looking at. I just left the defaults because I just want to show you guys some fun stuff that I found one time when I was, off the cuff playing around with it. So I'm just going to open up the illustration and then we're going to pull.
You can do March 1st, 1970. That's actually my birthday and I'm 50. So
you want to do? Okay. Yeah. Sure.
Why not? Let's do it. Hopefully it doesn't go to 51.
Let's see. It's going to roll us up. But we could.
I knew it. You say for age or what?
So I need to check on that. It's a good question, Jeff. So I know in our other products, we would have that conversation with new business. Mm-hmm. We would need to have that conversation. So let me follow up with new business.
That's fine. No worries. I thought it might work. So.
But let me just show you. Let's just look at the income potential, that aside and take a look for you. So we've got ExecuDex that we're pulling up here. And so we're looking here. So it's going to default here to the express non-tobacco and express tobacco. In some rare cases, we might have a case with flat extras, but that'll be really rare. And then you have some simple stops here. You can either solve for a face amount for specified premium or premium for specified face. My starting place that I prefer is premium for specified face. Okay, so let's just say Jeff wants to get a $500,000 ExecuDex policy. You'll notice that the premium is grayed out and the paid to is grayed out, right? Okay, we're going to default. I'll leave it at annual mode for you. And then I'm going to leave it at the high funding bonus rider. So we have a high funding bonus rider and a low one. The high one will generally give you an additional 1 to 2% in bonus to your account values in years 11 through 30. So that's where we take that performance and really bring it in line with fully underwritten products up to preferred. So it's really competitive. Then we're going to have this, I'll leave it increasing, switching to level in year 7. And then I'm going to take income. So let's just look at, we're going to solve for max income is what this is going to let us do. So let's just look at taking income when Jeff is age 65 for 25 years. So that'll take him to age 90. I'll do monthly because you can get a little bit more income out if you solve for monthly. And then we're going to do variable loan. So I didn't cover this earlier, but you might know it from our other products where our variable loan rate is contractually guaranteed not to exceed 5%. So this is going to be a niche and a value prop over other carriers. So think of it this way, that if interest rates in 10, 15, 20 years go up to 7 or 8%, your ExecuDex policy has a variable loan rate of 5%. So it's a lower rate and thus, a lower loan rate that's impacting that policy, right? That's what that's doing there for you. So we're going to solve for max and we'll do monthly. And then I'm just going to I'll switch to Barclays, right? So we've got that Barclays Trailblazer Sectors 5. You could blend it, 50-50 with S&P, whatever you wanted, right?
I like the Barclays 100. That's cool.
Okay, we can start there. So that's it. We're going to start here as paying a 7 pay annual premium, right? So let's take a look and see what we're looking at. And then we're going to maybe make some tweaks. So give me a second. It's running for us. Alrighty. So let's look at our tabular detail. All right, so
I think your tabular is not showing, so we're still looking at the.
Oh, sorry. Thank you for telling me. Let's try this. What am I doing? Let's just share. Let's share my whole screen is what I'd like to do. Okay, let's do. Okay, try this. How about this? Thank you.
Yeah, that's working. Definitely.
Okay, thanks for letting me know. So, okay, So look, so we've built this on a 51-year-old male, express non-tobacco. Okay, right? This express underwritten class is not going to be apples to apples. If you're running a preferred illustration at another carrier, remember that that's not necessarily apples to apples. This is a express, a rapid issue product. So it's going to be priced a little bit different with that. So do keep that in mind. So his initial premiums were a little heavily weighted. We're at, almost 25,000 a year. And then we're looking at income starting at age, I can change this a little bit. So in year 15, we're going to take income of 7,452. That's going to be a monthly income. Okay. So it's okay. We've got terminal and chronic illness included in here as well for you, but let's see if we can improve upon this. So there's a couple of things that we could do. Okay. So on ExecuDex, what if we go ahead and, what if I was designing this for my husband? What would I want to do? And I want the most income and advantage for him, right? So we're going to go ahead and we're going to take those premiums and we're just going to add a few more years. Let's just say he wants to pay it for a 10 pay instead of a 7. What could we do? So we're going to take that and pay 3 more years. And I'm zeroing out all these other years, right? So we have 10 years of premiums. And we can do, let's just change the death benefit in year 10. We do allow you to change it in year 7 if you want to do it then. But if you want to do that, I would encourage you to make sure you're doing your annual policy review with your customers. So before we were looking at like 74.52, I think, on the income. Let's see what it looks like now for Jeff.
Make sure the tabular shows again. I think it will.
Can you see this?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So then we're popping this up. So now we've taken this from 74. So he paid, yes, he put an additional 75,000 approximately in to this policy. But look at where we took that income. We took it from 74 and change up to 28. So what? That's like quadruple the income off the top of my head. I'm not very good at that, but significant income potential and difference if we stretched that out another 3 years and added those 3 additional years of premium payments.
Wow.
I will show you too, Jeff, what I was talking to you around the change in death benefit, right?
That's all.
So we're one of few carriers that will let you do this. Oh, and I want to show you the funding bonus rider too. Information.
Tax-free for life is not bad.
To age 90 on the income. So let me run this here for you one more time. So that was doing 10 pay, switching to level in year 10. We also allow flexibility where we could switch to level in year 7. Okay. So originally we were switching to level in year 7, and we even boost that income potential a little bit more. So this is showing the importance of annual policy review and being connected with policyholder services to also take a look at reprojections if needed and kind of see what we think. But we could maybe get squeeze a little bit more out of this policy if we were to switch that death benefit option in year 7. So this is unique to ExecuDex. It's important the policy owners understand that they need to monitor their policy, their annual statement, just like we do with our IRA or 401k. But you could have some nice boosts to your overall performance. So in this example, we're looking at over 750 in income. And on the last one, we were looking at 700,000. Yeah.
Could you single premium this, or it's only month or annually?
So we need to pay it for 7 years or longer.
Okay. All right.
So let me show you the funding bonus rider. So remember, this is what's going to bring that rapid issue product performance up. And so what we have here, it'll be included on your illustration. The funding bonus rider will vary by age and gender. So you'll see it change a little bit. So like, for example, I think for a 51-year-old, you're getting a little bit more here at 1.02%. I think on a 50-year-old, it's 1%, I believe, off the top of my head. But on so we selected the high funding bonus rider. So it's telling us this, right? Our option for this illustration was the high funding bonus rider. The bonus is going to be 1.02%. And the minimum annual funding to this policy, that in order to take advantage of this, the minimum funding on this one will be $24,713. Okay. You can fund more if you want to go up to the guidelines, which are, let me see. So if we go here to the guidelines, so you have a lot of room in here, right? So we were paying, was it 24 or 27? I think 24. We could take it even up. If you wanted to put more into your policy, you could, if you wanted to, up to the guideline amount, okay? So there's room in there for you. What else did I want to show you guys? I think, remember, this case is going to eliminate dealing with new business for the most part. So when it moves to issue, then you're working with policyholder services, right? So if you are writing ExecuDex, most likely you're going to be calling into policyholder services if you had a question. I mean, hopefully everything's so smooth and streamlined, you're not seeing a lot of that, but should you need support, it wouldn't really go to case management. We're going to be looking at it going into policyholder services because we've moved to those issue queues for you. So I see there's some chat here. Was there any other questions? Can you do California? Mark Senores is asking, so you can sell ExecuDex, it's approved in California. The one thing to note is that chronic illness was approved by the state at the end of January. So we're working on the product implementation. So we will have that the second half of 2021. And our fingers crossed, it's sounding good that we will also have that retroactive. So if we sold a policy today, our goal is to make chronic illness retroactive for your policy owners should you need it. I mean, this product's really designed as an income solution, right? But should you need it, I'm a belt and suspenders girl. So should you need those living benefits, they are there for you if you need them. What other questions can I help with, Jeff?
For me, as long as I knew it was instant approval, that was the first one. And then the living benefits, obviously, that you just kind of covered right now. And then the bonus feature. I know that there was a bonus feature that other companies were presenting. I think there was one or two companies that may have had this, but I heard that this one was the best bonus feature in the industry, from what I was told. And is there anything that shows like a comparison to another competitor bonus feature, or is this only like a handful in the industry that even get close to this?
There's nothing that's gotten close. When we've done our benchmarking, I have a slide here. Let me look at it really quick. Let me stop sharing and take a quick look at it for you on some benchmarking so you can see. But I think you're going to see ExecuDex is going to smoke the competition when you take a look. So let me find here. So okay, let me show you. I found it. All right, let me show here. We can take a look. Okay, so here's to give you an idea of, I can get this. Okay, so here we see ExecuDex. So this is a 45-year-old female. So this is what we did is we took a third-party source called Life Trends. We ran this scenario, and then we've plugged in ExecuDex numbers to it. So this is looking at real life examples where we have a 45-year-old female. The pay scenario on this one, we are paying to retirement, right? So we've extended those premiums out like we covered in the illustrations. we're going to have increasing switching to level when those premiums in. So it's a 20 pay, right? And the fixed annual premium of 25,000 and taking 20 years of distributions at age 66. And we're going to take, this will be using a variable loan since it's a par loan. So you will see here looking at North American, Global, Emeritus, Allianz. It doesn't matter who, our income potential is going to beat the rest. And, you know, there's carriers on this list that I know they are struggling to get policies out. And we knew over coffee that this had moved on for you, right?
Yeah, one more question. Is there an income minimum? So obviously with the payment being high, do they do an income verification or is it more just like a stated income kind of a thing?
So the income verification, since it is real time, I would have to check because to my knowledge, any income verifications, you know, would need a third party source, right, Jeff? So
it'd be like full underwriting at that point, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and so this product won't pivot. So they're going to be running other big data. That LexisNexis component pulls in a lot of data points as well. So we're going to rely off of what is available to be turnkey and quick. So if it's anything that's going to require a stopover, like an income verification, then we wouldn't see that with ExecuDex.
Got it.
If you do pivot to another product, let's just say ExecuDex wasn't a match for your customer. You saw how specific the application process was to ExecuDex when I went through those screens. So the application for this one is going to be for ExecuDex. If we do pivot to another F&G product, we will use the other e-application, if that makes sense. But, you know, in my opinion, if Jeff and I were sitting down and I was like, look, do you just want to sit down for 20 minutes and see if we can get this one, you know, packaged up and done right here on the spot? And Jeff was like, yeah, let's just see what we can do. You know, we've collected a lot of information during that e-app to help us, you know, if something didn't work out with ExecuDex, let's just say it didn't, and we pivot, we still have extremely competitive other products. We can then roll into the other e-app and just say, you know, I'm sorry, this one didn't work out. You know, I'm glad we gave it a shot. Let's go ahead and go through exam free. We can save age, you know, in Jeff's case, to age 50, right? And get him exam free.
That's great.
Right. Yep. So we would love to earn your business. I will ask for your business. I'm not shy about it. If we can do anything for you, I know Jeff runs, you know, a great organization. If you've got clients that are looking for protection along with income solution and living benefits, along with great partnership, I would say F&G is the carrier for you. And we were the #3 issuer in IUL policies in 2020, and we have no plans to slow down, even coming off of great heels of Q1 and looking even better for Q2 2021. So it's a great time to partner with us and be a part of this growth opportunity and experience with us at F&G. So would love to hear from any of you all if we can support you in any way. I've got an internal sales team that can also help with illustrations if needed, or any product questions, any support like that. We are here and available for you.
Thank you so much, Danielle. We have one more person maybe ask a question. We need maybe Sandra. Let me have you available to talk. Go ahead, Sandra. You should be able to talk. Did you have a question?
She looks like she's on mute to me.
Oh,
there you go.
No, I'm good. If a client, what I'm thinking about is 62, is that too old to get this product?
ExecuDex is issued ages 18 through 60.
Yeah,
but
I saw
you
that.
can look at our other products, no problem. We're still underwriting, you know, ages 61 and above the exact same way we did pre-COVID. And I've had really good success with some nice older age cases that we've been able to help support those provide underwriting and support to get those cases enforced for the agents.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Anytime. Thanks so much, Jeff. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to your team. Take care.
Yes, absolutely. Have a great week. Have a great week, you guys. Have a good one. Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.